First on BBC One, See Here.
It's yellow. I'm confused.
Right, it looks yellow inside, right. And is that different to everybody else's?
All the others are white. This one's gone yellow. It's funny.
Right, let's have a look.
The national curriculum puts a lot of emphasis on science. And that's why I've come to this school to meet Sue Madden. She's the science coordinator, and she was chosen as the regional finalist in the Association for Science Education's National Awards. Congratulations, Sue. Now, I was wondering, the other science teachers you were competing with, were they teaching deaf children?
No, there were no other schools for the deaf involved. They were all mainstream schools. Well, the competition involved a teacher from this school writing. I think she saw the advert in the newspaper, and she sent that off. And then later I received a letter telling me that I was through to the Yorkshire regional final. And 3 people came, 3 judges, and they watched a lesson. And then they went off, and a bit later I got another letter to say I was through to the final, which was in London. Yeah, how much?
Can you tell me what you're doing?
Finding out how well coats hold heat. You know body temperature is 37 degrees. Well, we're checking different coats to measure how well they do.
The national curriculum has very much influenced the work here. Before, really, teachers could choose every lesson what work they taught. But now we're looking really at the curriculum from the child when they're 5 through to when they're 16. We try to plan the work carefully so nothing is repeated, so that it's new work that develops as the child grows. I coordinate some of this work with the primary staff.
Hi, how do you like science classes?
Oh, I like doing different things. The work is interesting. You learn about the past, the future, the dangers of electricity, about cars and all sorts. Yeah, it's interesting.
How long have you been learning here?
Oh, for 4 years now, with Miss Madden, our teacher. So it's 4 years now.
You like it then?
The national curriculum is law, and that tells us what we must teach. But I try and look at the material from the perspective of the child here. I try and make the work investigative. I try and make the work involve visits, use of videos, maybe videoing, photographs, different things to make it as visual as possible. Right, here we are. This is the primary department. The children here are 5 and 6 years old. They're working on science this afternoon. Here's Jill. Hi, Jill. This is Marilyn from See Here.
Hi.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Would you like to have a look round? Have you started the planning without me?
Well, I've made a start. How's London?
Oh, really interesting.
So what are you doing?
Getting spoons.
Spoons. How are you doing that? Jill, why did you nominate Sue for the award?
Well, obviously because she's an excellent teacher. I mean, I would say she's outstanding, really. Her enthusiasm for science and the way she transmits that to the pupils, and so therefore their enthusiasm. They're always popping in and out of the science lab in their dinner hours. But it's more than just teaching her own class in the classroom. Also, the way she transmits this enthusiasm to other members of staff. She's so helpful if you go and ask her for anything. And she does it in a way that somehow increases your confidence.
Science, along with maths and English, are core areas, and very important that these children know about science for the future. The world is becoming much more scientific and technological. The children, they need to know things for the future that will help them to make lots of different choices in their lives.
Amazing, isn't it? We all had some idea of what they were saying. But do you think it's that easy to lip read? Try this. How about now? Got it this time, didn't it? Lip reading is a very important skill to both deaf people and hearing people, but we never really appreciate how much we do it. In conversations, facial expression, body language, and context, like where we're talking and what we're talking about, all help us to understand what people are saying. Have an orange juice, please. So, lip reading isn't just about watching the movement of the mouth and the lips. But like most things in life, it takes a lot of practice to be really good. Didn't realise it,
We don't know enough about how people lip read. There are some people who are wonderful lip readers. I teach lip reading, but my other hat that I wear is as a lip speaker. So I can see people at both ends of the scale. Some people have a great deal of difficulty with lip reading. At the other end of a scale, no problems at all. It's their main method of communication.
A recent report by the Hearing Research Trust estimates that over the next 20 years there'll be a 20% increase in the number of deaf and hard of hearing people in Britain. And that's quite a few extra people who need lip reading skills. But just how good are they now? I'm out and about to find out for myself. Excuse me, you got a spare minute? Do you in a bit of a rush at the moment?
I am, but...
We just want to ask people if they can have a go at lip reading, if they know anything about it. Would you like to have a go?
I'll try.
Okay, you ready?
No. How long will you be? I love watching somebody play.
No idea.
I've got no idea.
No, sorry.
Never mind. I actually said I love watching good play.
We talk about lip reading as purely lip reading, as just looking at the area of the lips, but it's not that. You're looking at the shoulders as they move, the eyebrows as they go up for a question, all sorts of little clues that the face is giving.
Ready?
I like something very much, I think.
You got it very good.
Let's be...
Something
No.
very much.
Close, but not quite. I actually said I like swimming very much.
Yes, it's quite tricky, isn't it? Yeah.
As chair of the Association of Teachers of Lip Reading, you would expect me to say go to a lip reading class. But I really think that it makes a difference to people. It's been proved that people who go to lip reading classes gain more confidence, They can ask for what they want. They also get an opportunity to speak to a lot of different people who have the same problems as themselves, and sometimes solutions.
You're deaf, so...
But I'm prepared to save myself for a little bit, so it's okay. I like a puppy very much.
Ooh, that's very close. Difficult word to get back.
Oh, sorry. The puppy.
I mean, as a deaf person, you find it difficult to lip read people.
It's been how clear the people that lips. Some for those here, it's first, oh, teeth.
It helps if people use their facial expression.
Voice alone is so important. Face expression, the most important. So,
I've now seen quite a few people, but what about those who need to be the clearest speakers of all? People who communicate for a living, like television presenters. Would you like to have a go?
What does it involve?
It involves wearing these to begin with.
Oh, right, yeah. Used to wearing these, that's
So
okay.
if you'd like to put them on.
Okay.
Are you ready for this one?
Okay. Is it true they've sold the post office?
Close. Shall I try again?
Okay. Is your daughter at the post office?
The answer was, he's a daughter at the post office.
At the post office?
Uh-huh.
Looks exactly like daughter.
Absolutely.
Right, I'll put these on. Right.
Okay.
Fine.
Hey, you comfortable?
I am.
Okay, let's begin with this one.
You wouldn't like to do that again, would you? Am I comfortable?
Very close. I actually said, are you sitting comfortably?
Ah. So I wasn't too far away.
Try this one.
I think this might be I like women very much.
You fell just right into it. I actually said I love swimming very much.
People have very different experiences of hearing loss. If somebody suddenly loses their hearing, they are then an object of pity. How awful, how dreadful, what can we do to help them? Everybody closes in, and the family is supportive, and people do help. The difficulty comes when the hearing loss is insidious. It starts slipping away, and Mum doesn't hear as well as she used to, and she keeps getting the wrong end of the stick, and then she's not an object of sympathy, she's an object of irritation. And that's where the difficulty comes, because if you want to learn to lip read, you do need people to have patience with you.
Back now to our main story. The Prime Minister says he's prepared to hold an election in Northern Ireland.
10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Off air.
Okay, great. Let's go. I love watching something. I love watching something at play.
Yeah? I actually said I love watching a good play.
Once more. Are you reading about the Princess on the Nine?
Not quite.
Did you read about the peace protest in Northern Ireland?
That's absolutely right. Well done.
We're not usually aware of the problems that those who are hard of hearing have in understanding the bulletins, but just a short test like that makes it more obvious what the problems are. I'm not sure how we can improve it except by remaining always conscious of that. But there is a tendency, especially when you're doing an early morning program like Breakfast News, where your face hasn't even started working by 7 o'clock in the morning. There's a tendency not to open your mouth, perhaps, as much as you should. So, something we should be aware of.
I spoke to the people in my classes and I said, what is it? What's the one thing that you want me to say? And they said, please, please, let me see your face.
Well, these days, with the internet and computers, you can get information from all over the world, which is marvellous. Not with this one, though, this is old. When I started, though, 50 years ago, I managed perfectly well, banging away on an old typewriter like this. Nowadays, I do use a computer, and I get bits of information from all over the world like these. Then I enter them into the computer for publication in the British Deaf News. Well, it started when I left school, and that was in London. With matriculation, it meant that you had to study another language, so, well, I chose Latin, and that was really useful because it's related to other languages, like French, Italian and Spanish. And that helped a great deal with understanding Italian and Spanish and French. So it meant that I can read and write in those languages. My strongest is French, though, that's my good one. This one's Japanese. Well, that's a bit beyond me. I can read through, though, and, you know, I get a feel of what looks important, and then I send it off to the university and they translate it for me. Not all of it, you know, just certain parts. This one here is from China. The most important thing is news. That's what's vital. Deaf people want to know what's going on, not just about politics, that can be boring, or education, but real news, like murder or other things like theft and police arrests and questioning. That's what they're interested in. This is from my friend Lovett. He's in Australia. He's always sending me things. Look, it's about the England versus Australia cricket match that was on recently. This is great. And here's the score. One of my hobbies is swimming. Keeps me in shape. In the summer, I swim every day in the sea. It's not far from here, just a short walk. But at this time of the year, well, it's January and it's a bit rough and, well, it's quite polluted really, and so it smells a bit. So I swim indoors instead. I use fingerspelling because it helps with English. If people just talk at me, I don't understand, and I'd never have become competent in using English. What are you having?
Half a lager.
This is an old edition of the British Deaf Times.
Oh, it's beautifully printed. Really fancy.
Yeah, it's been written well. It's really high standard, not like today.
So, which was your first book?
Oh, the first book I wrote was about the function of the deaf mind, since the mind of a deaf person actually functions differently from the mind of a hearing person. I haven't got a copy here though, and it's out of print now anyway.
Well, this one looks all right.
Oh yeah, that's the latest one.
It's great.
My life story.
I mean, you've really changed so much. I mean, now you drink, you play snooker. Still right?
Oh yeah, it's all in here.
Ah, well, that doesn't worry me. I mean, it stopped you looking at other women.
Yeah.
East Los Angeles is a tough neighborhood. The walls are spray painted with the nicknames of gangs and their members who dominate the streets. For these mostly Hispanic teenagers, with their distinctive crew cuts and tattoos, it's a brutal and often short way of life. White Fence is one of the leading gangs, with a 56-year tradition of violence and ruined lives. One of the first deaf members of White Fence joined the gang to survive, and then recruited more deaf members.
I went back and forth from home to school every day on my own. I'd take my shower and get dressed and go off to school, then come home. I missed a lot of classes. Other kids used to make fun of me along the way. Then in 1970, when I was 15, I joined the White Fence gang. It was a hearing gang. There were about 5 hearing guys and they attacked me and beat me up. That is how I joined the gang.
The youngest member of White Fence, Giant, is 15 years old.
You want to know why I joined a gang and how it happened? Okay. My parents never took responsibility for me from the time I was a kid and all the time while I was growing up. It made me angry because they were too busy to give me any attention. That made me have no concern for my family. I just ran wild. My parents never took care of me, so I got into trouble. I'd steal bikes, vandalize walls, and hit people with a bat. I'm crazy.
There are about 30 deaf members of White Fence. Harpo used to be one of them.
My family had problems. I was a father but didn't support my son. If there were fights or family problems, I'd go with the gang. That's what happened. The hearing and deaf groups got together on Friday and Saturday for beer. If there was a problem with another gang, we discussed if we should have a war with that gang, and we got the knives and guns already in the cars and drove to the location of the other gang. That's what we did with the V&E group in East L.A. That's the way life is. When they were beaten, we'd take off into the lane and drink and party and have fun. The hearing members told the deaf members they were impressed that we could kill just as well as they could. It's no big deal.
Caught between a confrontation between rival gangs, Harpo was innocent but had to seek revenge for his gang friends.
The war was between two gangs, PF and 3D. I was with WF. The 3D gang thought I was with PF, but I wasn't. They made a big mistake because it was another gang. Then we had the funeral for my deaf friends and things settled down. Later, the thought of the gang popped into my head. I won't see my deaf friends and family again. I felt bad and was emotional about what happened. Then my hearing friend and I went out to get back at that gang. We shot a gang member in the forehead and heart. He was buried. The cops came and arrested me, and I had to go to court.
Harpo was sentenced to 10 years in jail, but was released in 5 with probation. That's when he decided to abandon his gang for the sake of his family.
I've changed. How did I change? Well, the gangs pulled me away from my wife and family. I had a family. The key was my marriage and then the birth of my son. I was away from my family a lot when I was with the gang. My interest was the gang, and that caused problems in my family.
Harpo and his wife Elizabeth have been married for 17 years. They have 2 daughters and 1 son.
I have to encourage him, and I'm always on his case about where he is going and what he is doing, and maybe he gets sick and tired of it, but that's not the issue. The important thing is giving attention to the family.
Because he looked like different things. He looked like me, and I said be his gang, and not like he looked like my father. Now he looked like my father. Because he's same man.
Harpo's old gang friends are mostly married, working, and improving their lives, so there aren't many of them left. He tries to persuade kids not to be involved in any gang.
I feel bad about the past years. It's a bad thing to join a gang. I've changed now.
We're comfortable as a happy, loving family. I make love to my husband. For 4 years, we were frustrated, but now he's doing better. He's improving. After 4 years, he's better.
But Harpo's victims still haunt him.
I'm sorry, and I made my mistake. I've grown up. I asked myself why that had to happen. It's still bothering me. It's a bad spirit, like the devil calling me in my dreams. I can hear the voice calling. It's in my dreams. That's life.